Psalm 139. Which says this: O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Thou knowest my down sitting and mine uprising. Thou understandest my thought afar off. Thou hast compassed my path and my lying down, and art acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word in my tongue, but, lo, O Lord, thou knowest it altogether. Thou hast beset me behind and before, and laid thine hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain unto it. Whither shall I go from thy spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me. Yea, the darkness hideth not from thee, but the night shineth as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to thee. For thou hast possessed my reins, thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvellous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. My substance was not hid from thee when I was made in secret, and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Thine eyes did see my substance, yet being unperfect, and in thy book all my members were written, which in continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. How precious also are thy thoughts unto me, O God! How great is the sum of them! If I should count them, they are more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with thee. Surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O God. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men, for they speak against thee wickedly, and thine enemies take thy name in vain. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? And am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. And see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. That's some psalm. I don't usually title sermons, but if I was going to title this one, it would be Lord, you know me. If you look at verse 1, it says, O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Verse 23 says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. Do you know me? Does anyone here really know me? Oh, sure, we meet. Each week we come together, we spend an hour, two, whatever it is, maybe on a Friday night a little bit more time, where we get to know each other a little bit better. We have fellowship together, we have a meal together on a Friday night. But do you know me? Do I know you? I know bits about you. Some of you have been living for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, I'll leave it there, years. Maybe some of you in the 70s, I don't know. And I've only known you for the last couple of years since you've been coming here to the Oaks Church. Just once or twice a week, some of you. I don't really know much about you at all. I don't know whether you know me at all. A little bit, maybe. How are you doing in life? Are you enjoying life? Or are you struggling through? Because we're good actors. We come here each week, making out everything's well. But is it? What makes you think the way you do? What shaped you? What have you done with your life so far? One of us had a birthday yesterday. What have you done with your life so far? We keep challenging each other. What have we done with our life so far? What was it like for you growing up as a child? I don't know. I don't know you. Did you have a happy childhood? What were your teenage years like? What was your family like? What are your likes and dislikes? What are your goals? What are your passions? Who do you admire? Who do you look up to? What do you want out of life? How do you feel? I don't know you at all. Do you know me? What do you really like as a person? What makes you angry, frustrated? Why do you do what you do? I just put those few questions. We could put lists and lists of questions. I know very few people, and very few people know me. I love this psalm. I love this psalm. Verse 1. O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Considering we don't know each other too well, does anybody? We're so quick to judge. So many people make judgments. We all do it. People judge me and they don't know me. I judge them and I don't know them. We're too quick to judge as Christians, and we don't know each other. Why do you say the things you do? Why do you do the things you do? What makes you tick? Why do you think the way you do? Do I ever see it from your point of view? Do you ever see it from my point of view? People leave churches for all kinds of different reasons. People have left this church because I said something that they didn't like or they got upset about, or because they read something in the Time for Truth news and they knew it was about them. Turn to Proverbs 18. Proverbs 18, verse 19. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and their contentions are like the bars of a castle. Once you've been offended, that's it. You get one chance. You offend somebody, you get one chance, that's it. You just cut them off, or you don't want anything to do with them. Christians aren't very good at forgiving. Well, we talk about it. The Lord and forgiveness goes hand in hand, doesn't it? The Lord knows how to forgive. But we don't. We keep grudges. Somebody's offended us and that's it. You cast them aside. They're a waste of time. We're too quick to judge, yet we don't know the reasons. We've all made mistakes. We've all dealt with people in the past where you wish you hadn't have said the things that you did say. Just listen to this. Just by one sentence which has caused offence, it can affect a person for the rest of their lives. One sentence. A few words strung together. It can affect that person for the rest of their lives. Maybe something in your childhood that somebody said to you has affected you for your life, in your teenage years, at work, your colleagues, your family, whatever, at church. Example after example I could give you that I've seen, that I've said, that's been said to me. One sentence. I thought this was very interesting. The word division occurs in 6 verses. Division. Number of man is 6. The word divided occurs in 66 verses. Interesting. A few words can cause separation and division. Turn to Mark chapter 3. The Bible has so much to say about the tongue. Mark chapter 3, verse 25. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. We're meant to be in unity. We're meant to be a Christian family. Now, we could take all of our families, whether you've got brothers, sisters, mums and dads that are still alive, aunties, uncles, children, whatever. We could take our families, and you've probably got problems in your family like I've got problems in my family. My immediate family, my biological family. And we are a church family. Whether you're here for the first time or the 100th time, we are part of the body of Christ. We are a church family. We should get on. We should help each other. I wrote once, I know it was a bit harsh, but the more I know about Christians, the more I like my dog. Oh, I didn't get them too well. I thought it was funny. But if we were forgiving and loving and caring and looking after each other and give each other chances and not cast people off, we'd be a lot better. You see, Christians shouldn't be proud, but we are. We should be full of humility, encouraging, challenging, stand up when you need to, say things when you need to, but speaking the truth just like the Lord, speaking the truth in love. There's a way to say things. We all make mistakes. I've said some things, and even though it's been perhaps the brutal truth, it's caused people to leave the church. It's caused people to leave my life because of what I've said. And it happens, it's the opposite as well. It's happened to me. It's caused contention. I want to read you a few verses. Turn to Proverbs. A proverb a day. That's what we need. Not just one, a chapter a day. 31 Proverbs, 31 days in a month on average. Read a proverb a day. Proverbs 13, turn there. Verse 10. Proverbs 13, verse 10. Listen to this. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well-advised is wisdom. Only by pride cometh contention. I keep going back to this, Galatians 6:3. When a man thinketh himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. Only by pride cometh contention. Listen, we don't know everything. A guy emails me yesterday. I'd sent out an email in regard to witnessing, tracting, that we ought to be trying to win souls for the Lord. And if you need any tracts, we'll supply them, and get out there and just encourage him to get out there and try and reach the lost. If you don't do it, start doing it. Try it if you've never tried it. But just stirring them up. And I had some nut from America. Like I say, all the good stuff comes out of America, and there's some, I say all the good stuff. Some good stuff comes out of America, and some rubbish comes out of America. And one nut emails me straight away, very, very contentious, and saying that shouldn't be the focus of our ministry. Anyway, I sent him an email. I couldn't wait to email him back. I got excited. I had a visitor at the house till 2 o'clock last night, and I had this email come through on my phone, and as soon as I read it, I start, the hackles go up, and I'm thinking, I can't wait to open my laptop and press send after I've written it. Not the way to handle things. I'm probably one of the biggest hypocrites at that. I say you ought to take your time, think about it, leave it a couple of days, let you calm down, and I can't, before the ink is dry on the email, I've got to get it out. And he's saying, it's just pathetic, it's childish. His part and my part. But everybody thinks they know everything, You've always got to comment on something. You've always got to say something. You can have 99% of something that's good, but you've always got to pick on the 1% that's bad. You can listen to a sermon and agree with 5%, 99%, but always pick on the thing. Everybody's like, it's pathetic. Christians are pathetic, full of pride. Only by pride comes contention. Preaching in a church, I don't like preaching in churches. Preaching in a church, not far from here. Gave the sermon, you do the study, you give the sermon, you preach from your heart. You really mean what you're saying, you're trying to get close to the Lord. Then a guy afterwards says, "Oh, I enjoyed the sermon, but..." Here we go again. That but. That little that three-lettered word. That but. Oh dear, there's always one. Look at Proverbs 17. Proverbs 17 verse 14. The beginning of strife is as when one letteth out water, therefore leave off contention before it meddleth with. You know, they say nip it in the bud. Nip it in the bud. Stop that disease straight away. Nip it in the bud. If there's a problem, sort it out straight away. Don't let it fester. It's just, many things in life are like that. If you've got a problem physically, and you're waiting for the doctor, or you can't bother to go to the doctor, and then suddenly it takes hold, and then you've got this disease in your body, and it's suddenly become too big that they can't operate. People have done that because they didn't want to go. Nip it in the bud. Sort things out. If there's a problem in your life, sort it out. Well, look at this verse, 17:14. The beginning of strife is as when one letteth out water. You turn the tap on, it's just strife. So, listen, you stop the strife, you shut that tap off. Cut it off. Stop that water, therefore leave off contention before it meddleth with. Nip it in the bud. Don't be arrogant. Don't cause strife. There's so much strife in churches. It's pathetic. We're human beings. We're adults. We're adults, but we act like children so often. People in churches are pathetic. They leave for the stupidest of reasons. They have a fallout, and that's it. That's the end of the world. That's Armageddon for them. That's it. I'm never ever coming to church again because he sat in my seat. He said this, or I didn't agree with that, and he wouldn't listen to me. Whatever it is, pathetic little things. You can't get. Listen, some of you are businessmen. You work in offices and you can deal with the world and the people, but you can't deal with each other. It's pathetic. What is up with Christians? You leave a church because somebody upsets you on one small little thing. But we've all done it. Can't you get on? Can't you take the good in people and leave the bad? Can't you see it from somebody else's point of view? Rather than judging them for what they have done, perhaps it is wrong, it's incorrect what they've said or done. But can't you take the good and mature? See, I've upset him today, haven't I? And the person that's just left is 47 years old. His name's Amric. No, I'm joking. Turn to Proverbs 18. Proverbs 18. A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. A smack in the mouth. That's what you want. Oh dear. A fool's lips enter into contention. Verse 6, what did I say? 18 verse 6. I apologise. 18 verse 6. A fool's lips enter into contention. Don't get involved. We've said this before, we've seen it so often in life. A soft answer turneth away wrath. Oh, I could give you illustration after illustration of that in my own life that's happened. But I won't because it's on CD. I'll tell you afterwards. But it happens. You say something that just takes the wind out of somebody's sails because you've acted in a gracious manner. Doesn't always happen, of course. Don't go looking for strife. Nip it in the bud. Proverbs 22 verse 10. Cast out the scorner, and contention shall go out. Yea, strife and reproach shall cease. Sometimes you've got to cut people off. Sometimes people have got to go in your life. Sometimes you've got to dump people. You've got to cast out that scorner, and contention shall go out. Yea, strife and reproach shall... Some people are just born for trouble. Troublemakers. Troublemakers. And sometimes you've got to deal with that. We've had to deal with that. I don't want contention. I don't go looking for it, but it happens. And sometimes I cause it. I don't want to. It's a learning curve. We're all learning, struggling through life. Turn to Acts chapter 15. You ought to watch your mouth and be careful what you say and be careful what comes out of it. Think about what you're saying. Don't rush into things. Don't be rash. Acts 15. Acts 15 verse 36. This isn't really the message that I was going to go down, that I wanted to get to, but we'll see. Acts 15 verse 36. And some days after Paul said unto Barnabas, this is Paul and Barnabas, yeah? Let us go again and visit our brethren. It's lovely, isn't it? In every city where we have preached the word of the Lord, and see how they do. It's lovely. They're going to see their brethren. Like we would like to see our brethren in the different places, in the villages and the towns. You go to different churches. How many times have you been to different churches? Because you want to go. And then something happens and you wish you'd never gone. Something comes out of your mouth or out of theirs, and there is contention. You think, I ain't going back there. And they're thinking, I hope he don't come back. It happens. You don't want it. You want to go visit the brethren, see how they're doing. And Barnabas determined to take with them John, great name, all right, whose surname was Mark, average. But I've got a brother-in-law called Mark. Oh, come on. But Paul thought not good to take him. Who said this? Paul. Paul thought not good to take him with them, who departed from them from Pamphylia and went not with them to the work. Paul, it was a little burr in his side. He didn't want it. He didn't want him. Don't take him, don't take him. Nah. And the contention, this is the apostles. The apostles. With all the sign gifts, the tongues, the signs, the wonders. This is the apostles speaking. And the contention was so sharp between them that they departed asunder one from the other. They went their separate ways. The apostles, they had a bust-up, they had a fallout. And so Barnabas took Mark and sailed unto Cyprus, and Paul chose Silas and departed, being recommended by the brethren unto the grace of God, and he went through Syria and Cilicia, confirming the church. I know they got back together, which is great, but the contention even among the apostles, it's going to happen. Whenever you're outspoken, whenever you speak the truth, whenever you preach the word, whenever you stand up for what is right, you're going to have contention. Not everybody. I can't please everybody. What a joke to even try. I do the best I can with what the Lord gives me, but it's going to cause contention with people at times. And I realise that I can and I do cause contention. But is it always my fault? I know the answer to that. Do you? Some Christians, rather than come into line with Scripture, would continue to stay away from church because they've been offended. They won't come in line with Scripture, they won't forgive, they won't take the good and leave the bad, they won't sit under the ministry of the word, they won't submit to the book, so they stay away from church. And that's the end. They sit in their houses every Sunday, or they try another church and it doesn't work out, whatever it is, and they just sit there and they mope. And they moan, and they talk bad, and they gossip, and they spread rumours. All this kind of it happens. Human nature, pathetic, childlike creatures we are. Are you wrong? Are you ever wrong? Are you ever wrong? Or is it always me? Could you be wrong? Have you ever swallowed your pride? Some of you can't because your pride is so big. Have you ever swallowed your pride? Have you ever asked for forgiveness? Not to me, to the person you've offended. What about, can you see the other person's point of view? Or do you think, yeah, well, I know it all. See, we're very self-opinionated, egotistical people. And we think we know best. You'd like to give your comment on anything. Whatever subject it is, you think you're an expert. The news comes on. Straight away you make a comment. Because you're the authority on the news somehow. The economic climate, if I said something to you, or politics, whether it's Labour or government, whatever, charlatans in as Prime Minister. Oh, you'll say your thing. I heard a Christian say yesterday, oh, I enjoy politics. No comment. Go back to Psalm 139. O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Listen, nobody knows me like the Lord. I don't know you like the Lord knows you. I could search you with reason. I could try you, hoping to get to know you by asking you different questions. Try and get to know you in the deepest possible way. Open you up, bust you open to a degree. But you'll put up barriers and guards. You'll refrain from me going into a certain area of your life, and rightly so. I don't want to be nosy. I don't know you very well at all. I know you to a degree. If it was, this 100% of who you are, what do I know? 2%, 5%? Some of you, wise best friends, whatever. Yeah, you know 3, 4%. Oh, that was a joke. Mrs. give me daggers now. Oh dear. I'm in for it now. That's me chicken burnt. Oh dear. Oh, forget it. But the whole thing about all of this is I may not know you, but the Lord knows you. He knows what you think, what you're going through. He knows your ups and downs. We're going to read something in a second. But He knows everything about you. And when you're struggling through life, the Lord knows you. When you're hiding everything, because we've got a big closet in our lives that we hide all this stuff. And we only put, you only see the nice little bits that you bring out the wardrobe and that's it. But all the other stuff, all your bad fashion, stuck in there. You can't hide anything from the Lord. You can't hide anything from the Lord. He knows you. O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. There's only one person that knows me, and that's the Lord Jesus Christ. He knows me. He knows my actions, my attitudes. He knows my thoughts, the words I speak. He knows where I am. He knows my motives. He knows everything, why I do things. He knows my heart behind everything. Only the Lord does. Your deepest anguishes, your pain, your hurt, that you cover up. Your hate, and some of you do hate, I'm sure. Your jealousy, your bitterness, the Lord knows all about it. I don't, nobody else does, but the Lord does. No one knows like the Lord. No one knows that you're cracking up inside. You're broken. But you're putting on a face. This facade, this act that we put on for each other, it may fool each other. Even our closest to us. But it doesn't fool the Lord. The Lord knows us. O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. You know me. Your deepest and your most intimate feelings are known by the Lord. You may feel isolated, rejected. You feel all alone. But the Lord understands what you're going through. The Lord knows all about it. I love this verse. Turn to Psalm 62. Psalm 62. Verse 8. Trust in Him. Trust in Him. Wonderful. At all times, ye people, pour out your heart before Him. God is a refuge for us. Trust in Him at all times. He's the only one you can trust. 100%. Ye people, pour out your heart before Him. God is a refuge for us. Listen, if you're struggling in life, all I'm trying to get through to you today is, I don't know you. You can pull the wool over my eyes, as they say. That saying goes. But the Lord understands what you're going through, so talk to Him about it. Before you talk to anybody else, talk to the Lord. If you're struggling, if you've got to make decisions and you don't know which way to go, talk to the Lord about it. Keep praying, and don't try and work it out yourself, saying, "Well, I'll do this, and then then Lord, please bless what I'm going to do." Don't do it like that. Ask the Lord what He wants you to do. Read the Bible, the Scriptures, and ask the Lord to guide you. Maybe you've got to go seek counsel, wise counsel, talk to other Christians, but talk to the Lord first, no matter what you're going through. If you're going to, I know people have said to me recently they're going to change jobs. Make sure the Lord's in that. Otherwise you're going to cause yourself so many problems. What they say, out of the frying pan into the fire. A lot of people make those decisions, then hopefully the Lord will bless it. Don't do it that way. Put the Lord first. Make sure you're making the right decision. If you've got decisions to make, important ones. Tell the Lord all about it. I've got another cross-reference here, 142, Psalm 142, verse 2. I poured out my complaint before him, I showed before him my trouble. That's another lovely, lovely verse. Do you tell all your troubles to the Lord? I've got another one here, Lamentations 2:19. Lamentations 2:19. Arise, cry out in the night, in the beginning of the watches. Pour out thine heart like water before the face of the Lord. Lift up thine hands toward him for the life of thy young children, that faint for hunger in the top of every street. You're in desperate need. You're crying out to God. We see scenes on the television, don't you, and what's happening in all these places around the world, pulling children out of rubble, houses come down, fighting the Muslims, blowing things up, driving people out. It's tragic. Tragic what's going on. The whole world has gone insane. In this world of madness, your only solace, your only safety is with the Lord. It's to talk to the Lord Jesus Christ and pour out your heart and soul to him. O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. I may not know you, neither what you are going through, but I can keep pointing you to the one who does know you and understands what you're going through. If you're having problems at home, the Lord understands. Maybe you've got to make some changes in your life. You talk to the Lord about it. Turn to 1 Peter 5. 1 Peter 5. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 6 and 7. Humble yourselves. See, the Bible has so much to talk about in regard to the tongue, in regard to pride, in regard to humility. And as Christians, we should be humble people. It's not listen to a sermon and you listen to it, okay, yeah, that was all right. And then you forget it and go, these words, this is the word of God. We ought to take this and apply it to our lives. And every day, so we get up tomorrow and we think, what did I hear yesterday? I'm going to apply that tomorrow. I'm going to be humble. I've got to get rid of this pride in my life and stop talking about everything and stop gossiping and stop saying things I don't need to say and just shut up, listen to the Lord and be guided by him. Humble yourselves. Every one of us ought to continue to live in these verses. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, and he shall exalt you. And he may exalt you in due time. That he may exalt you in due time. Casting, here it is, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Do you cast all your cares upon the Lord, or do you try and work them out yourself? Hoping that things will get better. Maybe the Lord wants you to have a totally different approach to the way you're handling a certain thing in your life right now. Matthew 11, 28 to 30. Probably some of the loveliest verses in all of Scripture. Come unto me, all ye that labour and are heavy laden. Are you heavy laden this morning? Are you burdened by something this morning? And I will give you rest. The Lord will give you rest. Talk to him about it. Pour your heart out to him. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. For I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Problem shared is a problem halved. You know, you put that yoke on you, the 2 oxen, you put that yoke upon you, you halve that load. Well, if you got the Lord there, he'll take the load. The burden of sin, isn't it? With the Pilgrim's Progress. Old John Bunyan. The pilgrim dumps his sins. The burden. What burden are you carrying today? Talk to the Lord. I don't know what your prayer life is like. For some Christians it's like non-existent. They only talk for a few seconds a day to the Lord. You ought to be constantly talking to the Lord throughout the day, thanking him, praising him, asking him for help and guidance. Communicate with the Lord daily, all throughout the day. Don't have a set time where you talk to him at 8:30 and Lord, I'll see you again at lunchtime, and I'll see you again just after supper, just before bed. I prayed to the Lord 4 times today. You might as well turn to Mecca. You might as well turn to the Catholics and have your rosary beads if you're going to be so legalistic. Get a relationship with the Lord. Talk to the Lord about everything. Your job, the mundane stuff that you think He's not interested in. Talk to the Lord about everything. Psalm 139, O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. One day you will understand, and so will I, why certain things happen to you. We don't understand why we have to go through things right now, but certain things will happen to you and you'll understand that one day. When you're in heaven with the Lord, you'll understand it. You've had to go through certain hurt and certain pain in your life, and you think, why me, Lord? One day you'll understand that. We don't now. We try and work it out ourselves now, and we don't understand it. Why have I got to go through this? Why is this happening to me? Woe is me. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 12 says this, For now we see through a glass darkly. It's not clear, it's darkly. But then, face to face. Now I know in part. I don't know it all. I only know a part of it. But then shall I know, even as also I am known. I've taken that a little bit out of context, but you get the drift there. You get the message. I don't know it all now. I see through a glass darkly. I'm not quite understanding why I'm going through this. But Lord, you're with me, so I'm just going to tread water, keep going forward, keep pushing forward. Lord, you've got to help me. I can't take this without you. I can't go through what I'm going through without you, Lord. I need you so bad. Turn to Romans 8. We quote this so often, and it's been quoted to us so often, that sometimes it doesn't mean anything to us. But listen to the words. Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work together for good. We can't see it so often when something tragic happens in our lives. To them that love God. Well, I certainly do love God, and so do you. To them who are called according to His purpose. I don't have all the answers, of course, and neither do you. And sometimes you don't need to give it or try to give an answer if you don't know. Just be silent. Just empathise or sympathise. Just come alongside and pray. Say, look, I don't know. I don't know why these things happen. People say this to me. I don't know why I've got to go through these certain things in my life, or why you are struggling now. I don't know. But all we can do is keep turning to the Lord, keep pouring our heart out to the Lord, keep praying and ask Him to help us through it. Give us the strength to get through it. I take so much comfort in knowing that the Lord understands me. And right to the core, when nobody else does. I used to try and justify myself so much more than I do now. Trying to say, well, you don't understand. Well, I don't do that now. Hardly at all. The Lord knows me, my motives, why I say things, why I do things. I get things wrong, of course, so often. But I'm not going to justify myself to you. I'm just asking the Lord to help me. You work your side of the street, I'll work mine. We're different. We've been called to different ministries. I don't try and do what you do, don't try and do what I do. But we're all trying to reach the lost, we're all trying to live for the Lord, we're trying to get as close to the Lord as we possibly can. I'm a nobody. Joe Average. That's it. Just doing what I can. And you do the same. And let's quit judging each other. There are many times in my own life when I just can't express what I'm trying to say, but I know that the Lord understands me. I'd like to try and get through. I'd like to put on paper what I'm trying to say, and I find it difficult to do. There's a thing they bandy around. You're only using 10% of your brain. I don't know who come up with that one. Probably a bloke that's using 2%. I don't know. But I don't even know if that's true. Scientifically, I don't know. Can they prove it? I don't know. But some of you may be using it all, poor people. But you just got to keep going on, working things out, staying close to the Lord, trying to express yourself. Trying to do the best you can for the Lord. Be the best testimony you can. It's hard sometimes to try and get across the things that you're thinking about. But I keep coming back to this. Thou hast searched me and known me. The Lord knows me. And He knows you. And then it goes on, and we're just going to read this. We haven't got time. I mean, time's flown already. But look at this. O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Thou knowest my down sitting and my uprising. Thou understandest my thought afar off. He knows our thoughts. Your thought, the Lord knows every thought you have. What you're thinking right now, what you have done, all the stuff that you've forgotten about. The Lord knows everything. All your sins have been dealt with if you're a Christian. Fantastic. But He knows everything about you. We said before, if I, as human beings, if we could know each other really in a deep way, if we could look into each other's thought life, so I can't remember who the preacher was, he said, but if they could design a camera that could take photographs of your thoughts, how many of us would show our photos to each other? Oh, as soon as you come around, I went on holiday to Barbados or wherever it was. Here's the photos. They show each other the photos. If it was your thought life, you'd hide the photo albums, wouldn't you? Well, this is what I've been thinking lately. Have a look at this. I don't think so. He knows your thoughts. He knows your thoughts. Every thought, every word, every deed, everything you've ever done, all your actions, your motives. He knows everything. You're down sitting, you're uprising, where you're going. Thou compassest my path and my lying down, and art acquainted with all my ways. He knows everything. All my ways. He knows everything. For there is not a word in my tongue, but lo, O Lord, thou knowest it altogether. Every single word. Thou hast beset me behind and before, and laid thine hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain unto it. I can't understand all this, Lord. You know everything about me. For 45 years, from the moment I came in to this world as a baby, you know everything about me. You've been watching me, looking after me, watching over me, seeing the way I've been handled with my family and my upbringing and my education, looking after all these things. Even when I didn't know you, for the first 18 years of my life, when I had no interest in you, Lord, you had interest in me. He knows everything. It's too wonderful for me. It's too high. I cannot attain unto it. Lord, you're too amazing. Whither shall I go from thy spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. He knows everything. Wherever you go, heaven or hell, he's there. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me. Yea, the darkness hideth not from thee, but the night shineth as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to thee. He knows everything. He created everything. He's the one you want to talk to. The answer is still Jesus Christ. What a sad state of affairs to take the Lord out of the schools, and take the Word of God out of the schools, and take it out of the hospitals, and take it out of the prisons. The person that knows everything. And look at the mess that this world is in today because of that. Thou hast possessed my reins, thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Oh, there's so much in this. Fearfully and wonderfully made. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully marvellous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. If you could just stop and think, and you took time out, have a look at your hands, have a look at your body, your physique, your hair, your eyes, your everything. It is so designed, it's so perfect. The Lord created you. To actually believe that you've come through mutations and copying mistakes over billions of years, and suddenly, your ancestor was a monkey, and then you fell out of a tree, and then, a whale turned into a cow, and you have got to be absolutely insane to believe in this ridiculous religion of evolution. Absolute madness. One thing changes to another. What a mad thing. Your heart is in your rib cage. Your ribs are protecting you. Before, what was it, out there? And it was just banging away out there. and your blood pumping around. Where did the blood come from? Where did the heart come from? The liver? Did they all function at different times, or were they all suddenly appear at the same time? What madness! Isn't it interesting that all animals have fur and hair? But, and you've evolved in something better, and then you lose all your fur and hair, and you've got to start wearing clothes again. What madness! People believe this rubbish. They teach it as science, scientific, wear white coats, put letters after your name. Buffoon, that's what they're, B-U-F-F, that's what they had. Somebody said, I've got a PhD. Somebody said, pothole digger. Yeah, that's all it means. Listen, all this scientific stuff. You were created by God. You are designed. You are just perfect. The Lord has made you. My substance was not hid from thee when I was made in secret and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Thine eyes did see my substance, yet being unperfect, and in thy book all my members were written. Remember we looked at the books that the Lord has? A bottle for your tears, and a book where your members are written, which in continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. How precious also are thy thoughts unto me, O God! How great is the sum of them! How precious also are thy thoughts unto me, O God! How great is the sum of them! I don't know whether you've actually pondered upon the Lord and thought about the Lord times during the day, and you're just thinking, Lord, you're amazing. I can't wait to be with you. Just to be in heaven, and all my problems will cease. Just to be with you. Everybody will be perfect then. We'll all get on with each other. Nobody will leave here. We'll all get on with each other. Everything will be perfect when you get to heaven with the Lord. If I should count them, they are more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with thee. When you're a kid, you pick up a little handful of sand. You think, I'm going to count all the grains. And after about 30, you're thinking, and there's only a little splint, you think the sand, how much sand there is. I love this as well. If I should count them, they're more in number than the sand. When I awake, I'm still with thee. I love that. And then I put a little cross-reference in brackets here, and the difference between this, as a Christian waking up, the Lord is still with you, you're still with the Lord, the difference between somebody who is an atheist, who is an alcoholic. Look at this. Turn to Proverbs 23. You wake up and the Lord is with you. Proverbs 23. Look at verse 34. Yea, thou shalt be as he that lieth down in the midst of the sea, or as he that lieth upon the top of a mast. They have stricken me, shalt thou say, and I was not sick. They have beaten me, and I felt it not. This is a person who's drunk. When shall I awake? I will seek it yet again. You ought to read Proverbs 23. That tells you more about alcohol than probably any other passage. When I wake, I'll seek it again. That's what the alcoholics do. Yet when the Christian awakes, the Lord's still with you. You're still with the Lord. You talk to the Lord. You communicate. You pray to the Lord. An alcoholic awakes and he just goes seeking that bottle again. Throws all his heart problems into a bottle of booze. What madness. So to finish off then, surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O God. One day it's going to happen. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men, for they speak against thee wickedly, and thine enemies take thy name in vain. Thy enemies take that. You've got people in your own families. I've got people in my own family that blaspheme the name of the Lord, that detest and hate with a terrible hatred the Lord Jesus Christ. They hate him. They hate his word. They hate him. They're part of my family. And like Tozer said, I've got more in common with you than I have my own biological family. They're the enemies of Christ, yet they're in our families. It's terrible. And they will not listen. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? And am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee? Are you like that? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies. Righteous anger. And then we finish off as we started. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. And see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Let's pray.